This week, we return to Pirates Highway, where Elder Freeman first crossed paths with a trooper who would become a famous foe. By now, everyone has seen the terrifying footage of Nelson's attack on Freeman and his son, and some have alleged that Freeman was acting overly dramatic and irrationally afraid for what seems to be a simple traffic stop.
Help us! Help us!
But if this had been an ordinary traffic stop, Freeman would have responded much differently, and we know that because we've seen it happen before. In the fall of 2023, only 9 months before the Home Depot scandal, Elder Freeman had a run-in with Austin Greer on Pirates Highway. Remember, by this point, Greer shouldn't have even been allowed to drive anymore. Just a year before this event, Greer had been checking his email on his phone while driving on this very road. He blew through a red light and caused a serious crash that sent the other driver to the hospital. And yet, here he is, hypocritically pulling Elder Freeman over to write him a speeding ticket. The GSP never turned over their original dashcam video of the Freeman stop, but we've got this copy that Freeman made from a laptop screen at the courthouse. It shows Elder Freeman in his now famous red Chevy Colorado pulling over immediately. He stays composed and compliant, just like always. His son is also in the truck.
How's it going? It's going a little fast. Where are y'all heading to?
His tag is valid.
Is that important?
38-year-old
You still live at Silver Shoals Road?
Yeah.
Alright, is this your truck? Alright, just give me a few minutes to be right back with you, okay? Citation for a speed day, okay? You have till October 13th to pay it. Hughes County State Courthouse, you just call it pay it.
What is your name? The radar detector or the detection device
that ain't how it works. On the back of your citation,
okay.
It has all when I
Hold on.
It's when it shows when I calibrated it this morning at 6:30 a.m. this morning.
But you're not able to show me that device?
Nope.
Okay,
We're not required by law to show you that device. Right down here where the X is, right there, okay? Alright, this is your copy. There's your license. Y'all have a good day, alright?
To drive on.
Okay, alright. What I'll do, I'll pull out in the road, keep traffic off y'all, okay?
Dispatch 124 is going to be at 1025 Falls Road, 1025 Falls Road. It's going to be Stewart County Lutheran.
So what I'm doing, I'm trying to keep traffic off y'all so y'all can come out safely, okay?
We're okay with that. You're the danger. We're waiting on you to leave.
Okay, I'll leave, alright.
wrote Elder Freeman a speeding citation, one of over 526 citations that Greer would write that year. In the documents we received from the Georgia State Patrol, Greer often received praise from his superiors for making more stops and writing more citations than the average trooper. In fact, documentation from the Georgia State Patrol shows that by the year in question, his 6th year as a trooper, Greer had conducted approximately 6,400 traffic stops. But he would remember this one. He would remember it too well. Freeman appeared in court on November 27, 2023, before Judge James Irvin, arguing against Solicitor Ann Pinkett to have the case dismissed. And I would love to tell you exactly what was said in court that day, but I can't, because the transcripts mysteriously disappeared. 6 months later, on May 10, 2024, Ann Pinkett filed this motion to null pros the case, that is, to not prosecute, because prior court proceedings in this matter are unavailable for transcription, and Judge Chip Angel, who was sitting in for Judge Irvin that day, dismissed the case. So this case was dismissed a mere 50 days before all hell broke loose in the Tacoma Home Depot police scandal. So to be clear, it would be only 50 days after Greer's speeding citation against Freeman was dismissed that he would drive 130 miles per hour down this exact same stretch of road in response to Donnie Nelson's call for backup. And when Greer arrived, the other officers could tell that Freeman and Greer knew each other just by looking at them.
The exhaust is hot.
For a moment, you might think that this is all a coincidence and that it had no real impact on what happened thereafter. But listen to what Austin Greer was saying behind the scenes.
I've dealt with him before. It's David Freeman.
That's right. Out of more than 6,000 people he had stopped, Greer remembered Freeman's first name, David, but Freeman goes by his middle name, Justin. And so that's the name that he gave to the 911 dispatch.
David Freeman. Yeah, I think they said Justin Freeman, but I know him as David Freeman.
Anybody know how old the child is?
I would say if it's the same kid, when I stopped him, he was between 5 and 10.
So Greer definitely remembered Freeman from this previous encounter. And he didn't just remember his name either.
It's David Freeman. He lives on Silver Shoals Road here in Tacoma, yes sir. I've dealt with him before. He's very, very uncompliant. He was compliant with me, like signed the ticket and everything like that, but like video recording and all that stuff, you know, thinks that he's above the law pretty much, so.
Did you hear that? No one on the scene had any way of knowing the address of Freeman's house in Stevens County. So out of more than 6,000 traffic stops, Greer had such a strong vendetta against Freeman that he had Freeman's name and home address committed to memory. So, some people have said that Freeman should have just pulled over, that there's nothing to be afraid of, and that all of this could have been sorted out in court. But maybe they should think again. The record shows that not even 2 months prior to this event, the court was demonstrated to be incapable of even keeping a record of its proceedings. And pulling over to give your name and address to a vindictive police officer can have lasting consequences, even after the case is resolved in your favor. Do you feel safe letting these guys know where you live? And we can also confirm this. Sergeant Trooper Ray Dean told former Sheriff Randy Shirley that he was okay with bringing in a lawyer to negotiate a peaceful surrender, as he had promised. But Austin Greer, who had a bone to pick with Freeman, suggested a different route. It was his idea to escalate the situation by bringing in a window punch to smash out the windows.
Also a lawyer. And I don't mind, I don't want to put a lawyer in jeopardy, but if that's something that we can do to appease him, that's an easy one if y'all know of somebody that can come here.
Yeah, I got the hole punch right here. So, yeah, you just push it, it just pushes down, and a little pin comes out and pops the window.
By the way, the evidence shows that Freeman couldn't have rolled down his window even if he had wanted to. When Greer had pulled Freeman over in 2023, he opened the door, not the window, and photos taken by Bill Zagan after the crash showed the window didn't even have a handle. While we have no evidence that Donnie Nelson started the Home Depot police scandal because of a prior vendetta against Freeman, Greer's connection confirms that this beatdown was a personal vendetta against Freeman because he had won in court previously. It was Greer who smashed the window to breach the truck, and Greer was one of two who fired a taser. It was also Greer who falsely accused the kid of kicking and spitting and trying to bite him. And Greer showed up to testify against Freeman, ensuring that his bond was revoked and that he remained behind bars for as long as possible. I'm Mr. Pipsqueak signing off, and remember, you should never talk to police without your parents and a lawyer present.